Assalamu alaikum. Army Public School and College Khaniwal. It's class 10 biology lecture. It's chapter 12 coordination and control, and the topic is reflex action and receptors in humans. Reflex action. Yesterday we discussed about the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. There were two types of the nervous system. One was responsible for the conscious control, that was the somatic nervous system, and the other one was the autonomic nervous system that was responsible for the unconscious control. Now we are going to see about the reflex action. As you know, students, when central nervous system sends impulses to muscles and glands, two types of actions results, right? First action is the higher center of brain. Yes, your brain is responsible to control the conscious action. Like if I am telling you about the information of your lecture, you are listening it, right? So it's mean this is conscious control. You are sitting consciously and you are listening my instructions. And you're trying to understand it as well. It's mean it is conscious action or voluntary action. It's in your control. And it is being done by your brain, that your brain is receiving the information, whatever I am teaching you, right? And the other thing is about the unconscious thing. Unconscious action, just like given in this picture, you can see, students, that if you put your hand on a flame, the receptor cells on your skin stimuli the heat, and what happened that this message is going towards the spinal cord here. Instead of going towards the brain, it is just here. It results in unconscious control. And such action is called the involuntary action, in which the message is not gone towards the brain. From here, the relay neurons interpret the message, and suddenly you give an action. You give a reaction that you just put away your hands from the flame. So it's mean from here, the information is not gone towards the brain. From relay neuron, the action has been performed, and such action is known as the reflex action. That is unconscious action. You can say it is involuntary. If you remember fight and flight, it's all about the reflex action. The pathway followed by the nerve impulse, as you can see from here, this is the nerve impulse pathway for producing reflex action is called the reflex arc. Here, the pathway of reflex action. So you can see this is the pathway. That sensory neuron is giving message towards, bringing message toward the spinal cord. Here, relay neurons are present. They are giving response to these motor neurons towards the effectors. And what happens? The reflex action occurred here, and the pathway is known as the reflex arc. So you are clear with this term, the reflex action and the reflex arc? Answer me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All the participants, please raise your hand if this term is clear to you all. Okay. 6 participants raised the hands. What about the left 4? Those who didn't understand, they can ask me again. I am here to tell you. 4 other raised hand. That is a good response from your side. Okay, I think I should move ahead now. All right, please unraise your hands. Okay, our next topic that is about the receptor in humans. Okay, one receptor is given here. Except this eye, how many receptors are in your body? Eyes, ears, nose, taste buds, receptors of touch, heat and cold. These all are the receptors. that are present in a man. So first of all, we will see this human eye, which is one of the most important receptor in humans. Let's see the structure of the eye. Where eye is present in your body? Our eye is located here. Our eye is located here in a small cavity. Is it so? Small portion of skull. Eye is present in the portion of the skull, and the area where it is present, it is also known as the eye orbit or eye socket, where the eye is present. And this socket is present in the area of the skull. So you can say that human eye is present or located in the orbit, which is present in the human skull. Next to it, you can see the further parts of the eye and their function. The eyelid. What is the function of your eyelid? Yes, you are watching with your eyes on daily basis. You just open and close your eyes. And what can be the function of your eyelid? Okay, whenever you feel tears in your eyes, you just close your eyes. What happened? Eyelids wipe eyes and prevent dehydration. So the function of eyelid, wipe eyes and prevent dehydration. The next thing, they separate tear on the eyes. It is a function of eyelid. And what is the function of the tears? Yes, your tears have one specific feature, that it consists of some yes, your tears have substances for fighting bacterial infections. So if any bacteria gets entered into your eye, it can be killed by these tears. Next is the eyelashes. What can be the function for them? Prevent the particles from entering the eye. Now we have divided the structure of eye into three layers: the inner layer, the outer layer, and the middle layer. Outer layer, middle layer, and the inner layer. Fine. So first of all, we will see the outer layer. Outer layer consists of sclera and cornea. In this diagram, you can see the internal structure of the eye. It consists of sclera and the cornea. For this purpose, see this picture also. You can see here this white part, right, in the eye. This white part of eye is called the sclera. And the next is the cornea. Here it is present. So sclera is clear to you, white color, dense connective tissues, and its function is for providing protection and maintain the shape of your eyes. Next to it is the cornea, admit light to the interior of eye. So here you can see the cornea, this one, right? This is the outermost sclera. This is the outermost sclera, and next to it is the cornea. And this cornea is responsible to admit the light inside of the eye. So the outer layer class, it is made up of two parts. One is the sclera and the other one is the cornea. Sclera is a white color dense connective tissue, and the cornea is the next part to it, and it is responsible to admit light to interior of the eye. Yes, next to outer layer is the middle layer, and it is also known as the choroid. It contains blood vessels, the middle layer here. You can see the parts of the middle layer. It contains the blood vessels and give inner eye dark color. Yes, your eye dark color is eye is in dark color just because of these blood vessels. So it is having two parts. One is the iris and the other one is the pupil. So you can see here the iris. This is the iris, right? And this is the pupil. These are the two parts of the middle layer. What is the function of iris? Behind cornea, right after the cornea, choroid bands to form, or you can say the middle layer. Bands to form a muscular ring. It is forming a muscular ring. It is called the iris. So what is iris? It is a muscular ring. Here it is the muscular ring. And what is pupil? That is the second part of the middle layer. In the center of the iris, you can see in the center of the iris, this is the iris, and in the center of the iris, there is a round hole called the pupil. After striking the cornea, light, first of all, the first was sclera, next cornea let light to in and forward it towards the iris, and iris sending it towards the pupil. Size of pupil, this size is controlled by the outer iris muscles. Okay, pupil. You can see that the light is moving from cornea towards the pupil. It's mean now we are going to see the function of the pupil, that how it is helping light to get inside of the eye. The size of pupil is adjusted by the iris. If you can see in this picture, first let me show you here. You can see this is the iris, the outer part. Here, fine. Inside this hole is called the pupil. Not mentioned here, but this is pupil. It's mean the size of pupil is being controlled by these two parts of iris. Now let's see how pupil is admitting light. Yes. High light intensity, in case of when the light is very high, circular muscles contract. You can see the structure of the pupil here, fine. So small pupil, the size of the pupil is small in bright light. What happened? That small pupil, circular muscles, you can see these round muscles, these are the round lines, these are showing the circular muscles contract, and these lines are showing the radial muscles relax. When in case of bright light, pupil becomes small, or you can say it becomes contract, because circular muscles contract and radial muscles relax, and pupil becomes the smaller. So the pupil, you can see this hole becomes the smaller. But what happened in the low light intensity, you can see this hole of pupil becomes enlarged in size. Why? Because circular muscles relax here and radial muscles contract. So their relaxation and contraction decide the size of the pupil. Will it be the small or enlarged? Is it clear?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Next one is the inner layer. That is the third part of human eye, and this inner layer is also known as the retina. Contains the photosensitive cells, rods and cone cells. Yes, you have different types of cells in your eyes which can differentiate the colors. So it is just because of these rods and cone cells. So see them one by one. What is the rod cells? Sensitive to dim light. If you can see the colors, if you can see the things in dim light, it's mean you are watching them with the help of these cells in your eye, and they are the rod cells. Next is the cone cells. They are sensitive to bright light. They help you to see in the bright light, and they are the cone cells. So inner layer contains these two types of the photosensitive cells. One is the rod and other one is the cone. Okay, retina has 2 points. You can see here, this is the this was the outer middle structure of the eye. Now this is the inner structure of the eye. So the third layer is the retina. You can see here, This is retina. It is having 2 points. One is the fovea point, right? Other is the optic disc here, or it is also known as a blind spot. Okay, let's see what is fovea and optic disc. Fovea dip in retina opposite to lens. You can see it is just behind the, just opposite of the lens. This is the lens area, and just opposite of the lens is the fovea. Densely packed with cone cells. It is packed with the cone cells which are sensitive to the bright light, responsible for the color vision. It's mean whatever the colorful things you are watching, it is being done by this point, the fovea. It is helping you to see with the help of cone cells to the different colors. So it is helping you for the color vision. Next is the optic disc point on retina, no rods and no cones. Here are no rods and no cone cells are present. So this is known as the blind spot. And you can see here are the optic nerves enter to the retina. And retina is the point here where the image is formed. You can see just on this layer, the image is formed. Whatever the image is formed, the all optic nerves send this message towards the brain. Yes, I have seen this one image. At this time you are seeing this slide, this image is going to be placed on this retina, and the virtual image is there. Next to it is the cavities of eyes. Eyes have 2 cavities. One is the aqueous humor and other one is the vitreous humor. You can see this whole structure of eye, right? This was the outer layer, here was the inner layer, and these are the inner layer, and here was the middle layer. But here, this point, you can see the aqueous humor, which is present in the middle of the eye. This is the aqueous humor, and next to it, this whole part, it is known as the vitreous humor. So there are 2 cavities. The anterior chamber, you can see here in front of the iris, between cornea and iris, where is a posterior chamber between iris and retina. This is between retina and iris. This is a posterior chamber, and this is the anterior chamber. The anterior chamber contains a clear fluid known as the aqueous humor. It is having aqueous humor. This is the anterior chamber, right? And this is the vitreous humor. It's present in posterior chamber and contain a jelly-like fluid. So it is having this whole part is having the jelly-like fluid. Rods and cones generate nerve impulse in the optic nerve. Here the optic nerve. Here the rods and cone cells give the Okay, it was all about the structure of the eye. The next thing is the color vision, and the other things we will see in our next lecture. Till here, if you have any problem, please let me know. Do you have any problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Allah Hafiz.